State recognized presence of the jury. Defense.
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, members, what is your pleasure? All right, let's forge on.
Your Honor, I believe this is the stipulation regarding July 28th, 2008 with Lee Anthony. And should be 69 in evidence?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, is that 69?
The second Lee Anthony, yes. Okay, all right, the last, I did.
Okay, what's the number? Okay, you may publish it, and I read the stipulation first. Lee Anthony attended a video recorded visitation with Caylee Anthony at the Orange County Jail on July 28, 2008 at 0900 hours. The video recording is a true and accurate representation of the visitation. The parties have agreed to this fact, and it should be considered as true in your deliberations. You may proceed.
Thank you. Hey.
Hey, sis.
How are you?
I'm here.
I know.
Media to get in and get out, so
Understandable.
something else. Well, I've got a lot, kind of like, the last time too, but, I wanted to, first just, because I know we kind of got cut off last time,
Yeah.
I wanted you to be able to, talk to me if there's anything that you want to talk to me about, or whatever. I wanted to give you that opportunity before. I know I kind of dominated a lot of that last visit, but
It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So, do you got anything for me, or outside of what I've already heard?
Did you guys get my messages from Jose?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
then that's where I'm leaving it. So,
How are we coming? How are we coming with any other communication?
pretty good. I'm in the process. So,
All right. Just curious.
yeah.
So I completely understand what you're saying, what you were saying, and I look forward to, maybe the details and, being able to elaborate on a personal message, which would be handled the same way. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Aside from that, there are things that, and again, answer as you wish, but there's some things that I think may help me in the meantime.
Okay.
Specifically on, the day that Caylee went missing.
Mhm.
Am I correct that you had actually spoken to 3 people over the phone, 2 people via text, 2 of those people via text message prior to reaching out to Mom?
Throughout that period, yes.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
I already know who those people are, obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
Are any of those 3 people involved, to your knowledge?
There's potential for that. I'm thinking possibly yes. At this point, that's kind of my gut feeling. All I can really go off of at the moment is my gut, and yeah, that's every day it's getting a little bit stronger.
Right.
So,
Understood. Not to call those names out directly,
yeah.
but to reference it further.
Mhm.
2 out of those 3 had actually been in text communication with prior to reaching out to Mom. Am I right on that? Or
Yes.
Okay. specifically down to those two.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Are those?
Yeah.
Okay. There was one that you talked to via text first, and one that you talked to via text.
Oh,
second.
As far as the order, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, how about instead of order, how about frequency?
Frequency.
Right. There was, out of the two, there was a particular person that you spoke to on a much more frequent basis during that period of time than the other.
Yes,
And in
absolutely.
The other, I realized that there were 2 calls and 2 texts.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, there were numerous calls and numerous texts.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 2, out of the small communication or the large communication, is there one that I should focus on more?
I couldn't say either way. I mean, both obviously need to have some sort of attention. So,
Ditto. Understood.
yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay. Perfect. To your knowledge, do any of those 3 people that I was talking about? To your knowledge, prior to any of this, would they have ever talked to each other?
Potentially, yeah, probably. I mean, as far as I know, everyone was kind of intertwined as far as the friendship was concerned.
Even down to those last 2 that I had referenced?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Specifically on the evening going into about midnight on the next day,
Mm-hmm.
I saw your calls to a place that would deliver food.
Okay, can you be specific on the actual day?
17th.
17th, okay. Okay.
I saw, that you had made a few phone calls to place that would deliver food.
Oh, that was actually probably Tony's roommate. I think I let him use my cell phone for that, so.
Okay. So, all right. So, I guess what I would ask was, you had mentioned to me before that when you were doing your own
Mm-hmm.
search, that you were kind of out and about at some instances. Could you give me an idea of when that would have been? And by out and about, specifically what I was talking about.
It would have been during the daytime.
Action was.
Yeah, it would have been during the day. Nothing would have been at night whatsoever.
And during the daytime on any of those days, would you have reached out to any of these people that I should be interested in, to your knowledge?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. Let's see. On our phone call, we talked about that other cell phone.
Uh-huh.
I know you told me where it was purchased from.
Yeah.
Was it purchased for you by somebody else?
No.
Do you remember when you purchased it?
The exact day, I'm not quite sure. I might have the receipt at home. I'm not totally sure when it was bought.
Would it have been in the last month, 2 months?
Within the last, I'd say 3 months, yes.
Okay. Let's see. Would it be safe to assume that the person that was, that they would have probably contacted you on that phone? I know you were switching the SIM card back and forth, but they would have preferred to contact you on that phone and vice versa on the blackjack.
I don't think there was really a preference.
Okay. All right.
My SIM card would, still hold the information in either sense. It would still register to my account, so I don't think there was an obvious preference.
Okay. Back to the 3 people that you talked to on, on that day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in regards to the other 2 now, back to that other person that hadn't really, mentioned so much. And I already know your feelings towards this person. It's noted. However, I was just curious. You'd had a fairly long conversation with this person after lunchtime, prior, in about 2 hours or so prior to reaching out to Mom. It was kind of the bulk of, or right before, what looked like a lot of this franticness kind of went down.
Yeah.
Would it be, would anything have been shared, or would she have any indication on maybe what happened from that long conversation that you had with her?
I'm not totally sure. I mean, there's a possibility, probably not.
Okay. But if I was to follow up with that person specifically, would she feel comfortable enough opening up to me if it was just that person and myself?
I would absolutely hope so.
Okay. I'm gonna reach out to that person and see if anything. So
Okay.
Can you? I'll reference those guys as the Full Sail crew.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they would have, any of them individually or collectively, would have actually physically met Caylee for the first time? I know you may have to think back a little ways for that, but
last week of May, first week of June.
And how would that have gone down? Would it have been
The very first time they all met Caylee, I brought Caylee over to the apartment. That's how they all met her the first time. They had obviously known about her previous, or prior to this, but that was the first time they had all met.
Is there any particular activities that you may have, done at the apartment or something, or within the apartment complex?
We went to the pool a couple different times.
Do you remember the last time that you may have had her there, or had her to where they could have seen her?
Wow.
Prior to the day she went missing.
Yeah. Jesus. Maybe around Mom's birthday. So around the first week or so into June.
If you had to guess, do you remember if it would have been before or after Mom's birthday?
It might have been after.
Okay. Let's see. That was something I already knew, but I needed to confirm.
Yeah. I figured. I know you're very thorough, so I can appreciate that.
Lot. Yeah. If I were to be looking for the nanny's place, would it be advantageous of me to look in areas that are familiar to another friend that you may have?
That would be pretty much on the money.
Down to likely the same complex of any of your friends.
Within the same area, I do have a friend that lives within this complex or neighborhood, yes.
Okay. Trying to figure out a way to ask it. You may know how I was going to follow that up if you want to share it. Would that include? Would that include any of the people that I referenced earlier, or that I was referring to earlier?
Trying to think.
I don't think you need to
No.
answer that.
No.
All right. You given me last time that Zanny had used a few different phone calls to contact you. Let me know that when it started, it was kind of like a 407 number. She had also used a 321 number. And then more on a recent side, she had used a 954 number.
Yes.
So that's still... Am I right with all that?
Those are three of the area codes, yes.
And they could have been interchanged throughout the entire...
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Is there any other area code or state that an area code would come from, or region of the country that an area code would come from that I should add to that list?
I know I got a call from down south, possibly Miami. I'm not sure what the area code is down there. Also from Jacksonville, possibly. Throughout Florida, most definitely. I know I have scattered calls up the East Coast on, maybe different locations there.
As you know, area codes start with 6 are all throughout the country. I mean, They've got area codes for 6 on the West Coast, in the Midwest.
Oh, I know 631 is New York.
Right. Specifically, I was asking about a 623.
623.
It's where I was at for a month at the beginning of the year.
Oh, that's Mark Hawkins. So, no?
Or yes.
I would say no.
Okay. All right.
I was going to say, I'm pretty positive I know who that is. Oh, no.
No. Okay. Well, okay. I just didn't know if there's maybe anybody else that may have knowledge of the situation other than the people that there's 2 people that you'd already mentioned.
Yeah, no.
Okay. What do you think I've already talked to a few of you, to one of your friends in particular that you worked with that verified that those 2 people that you said have knowledge of the situation and have knowledge of Zenaida.
Okay.
I've already talked to somebody and she confirmed that those people do indeed exist.
Yeah. That's good.
So, yeah.
That's definitely a step in the right direction.
Do you have any way, or if you can end up thinking of any way where you think I may be able to reach out to them
Yeah.
myself?
If I can think of something, I'll make sure you get that immediately.
Thank you, because I think that would be extremely beneficial.
Yeah, most definitely.
Back to Zanny's numbers. So it's just those 3 different area codes.
Those 3 that I can think of off the top of my head, yes.
Okay. Primarily, did you get texts and calls from both? Or maybe only texts from one or the other? Maybe only calls from one or the other?
It kind of varied. Usually most of my communication with everyone has been through text messages. That's kind of always been my main form of communication with anybody. So, I mean, I can't say more or less to one person or another if there was more of an open phone call conversation or through a text message. I'm not totally sure.
I know you had mentioned some of the different areas and stuff. Would it be safe for me to assume that the person that took Caylee would have resources out of the Orlando area?
Yes.
Aside from the places within the state of Florida that we already mentioned, do you think they'd have resources outside of the state of Florida?
Yes.
Could that go up as far north as some places that I've recently been to, or up in that region?
Yes.
Specifically for people that I've worked for and been involved with last year, you know, in a particular area for, you know, like for football and stuff. Should I focus my attention on that state as well?
I could potentially say yes. There's an obvious chance, yes. So I guess I can't say no to that.
Well, one thing that I wanted to, you know, for you to keep into consideration. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
One thing I want you to keep into consideration, based on the contact that, you know, based on what I know right now, what, you know, has been able to be conveyed to me, you have to know that that everything has changed from, you know, a month ago.
Yeah.
And that, you know, even if we've been used to or, you know, acting a certain way or following a certain thing, that those, you know, in a sense, that those rules may have changed.
Yeah.
What I'd be looking for is, at some point, is some form of direction with you with you knowing that some form of direction on, are we still working off of the same you know, the same time, the same, you know, the same instances, the same people, you know, if the same areas, if any of that may change because, you know, in a sense the situation has changed.
Yeah.
Let me know, because of course there's only certain things that you can handle from where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be able, if I can, to, in a sense, kind of pick up where you left off. Okay?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So, however that needs to be facilitated, you know, I know you trust me that I'm going to do what's best for everybody.
Exactly.
So, you know, just think of that one for me. Whenever I can, you know, because that's kind of what my wheel's been turning on, because, you know, that was the first thing that I realized, you know, that where it's not what we may have been, what you may have been working under, and, you know, and all that stuff. The things that you've been stressed about and the things that you've been reacting to, maybe someone else needs to stress and react to it, or maybe we need to stress and react to it in a different way.
Oh, exactly.
So, you know, do you have anything? That was all my specific questions. I really didn't have a lot of time today because I literally had reporters following me, and I can't wait to cuss them out for that one.
Be nice. Remember, be nice if you can.
There's a certain level of respect that for us to be able to continue that relationship with them, and you know, I need them to respect that they're not going to chase me around.
Oh, exactly. They can't
chase me around.
Well,
so
Jose and I had talked about something, and I think maybe this is a good idea for you guys to maybe all do as a family, all do together. Maybe set up a place if they want to interview you, unless you guys contact them otherwise. I know that they're still going to send people out after you.
I'll tell you, that's never going to happen.
Probably not, but it may minimize it a little bit.
We'll have a half a dozen news fans outside the house 24/7, and then, as far as some of the other residences that they've attempted to go to also, or trying to keep those either under wraps, or, maybe the people within those residences were trying to make them realize not to
say anything.
acknowledge their presence.
Exactly.
But whatever. It'll all go away, So
No, I know it'll just take a little while, obviously.
Obviously. Is there anything else that you think may be helpful for me, or mom or dad, or anything, that you want me to get through to them or to anybody,
I mean, hopefully you guys can, hopefully you can go off of the new leads and, the things that you were told this weekend. Hopefully that'll help you. I mean, as far as anything else at the moment, there's either nothing that I can obviously give to you now, or, there really honestly isn't anything I can think of at this exact moment.
Understood.
But I'm pretty positive I'll be seeing Jose later. I'll have probably most of the day to think about it. So I'll try and pull together whatever I can. When the opportunity arises, later, I'll give him whatever I can think of. So
remember, the police need to know that you're working with them, that you're helping them.
Exactly. And we're setting up our meeting, I think, for later today. So
perfect. Do this for me. I've got some contacts in some other agencies that I trust. Whether it's yourself or Jose, if you guys are able to probe and just find out that, and you can ask Jose, Orange County has mentioned some other resources that they're using right now.
Okay.
If there's a way to confirm that without me, frankly, making an ass out of myself and an ass out of the situation by trying to find that out myself.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure that everybody's on the up and up right now.
Okay.
So
makes a lot of sense.
That would be great, because if certain things aren't what they seem, it's going to change the way some of this stuff goes down. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I'd be very interested to hear the results of that.
Okay.
As far as the phone calls and stuff like that, with the account that I set up, like when we had that 15-minute phone call, those calls can only go through to me.
Yeah.
So, do you know when you are particularly free? When, if you were to reach out via that, when I should typically look for those calls?
It'll be during the day, probably anytime between now and I'd say maybe 3 or 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So it would be within a decent hour of the day. So
okay, good to know. That's cool. So I just want to make sure that I pay more attention to my phone from numbers that I don't recognize. I've programmed that particular number, so I'm pretty sure I'll know what it is. But I just want to make sure that that I'm available, and I would drop anything to pick those up. So
absolutely,
feel comfortable reaching out at any time. Don't hesitate. Keep in mind I'm probably going to want to utilize the whole 15 minutes. But
Lee, I'm not doing anything except reading books and napping. So trust me.
Exactly. I could imagine.
The closer I can get to home, the better.
Right. That's good. And don't worry about spending mucho dollars every day to do it. It's totally cool, especially if you have something that's pertinent. You know what I'm working on. So
exactly.
Just, keep that in mind. But at the same time, mom's working real hard with the media. Trying to get keep the focus on Caylee and get
where it belongs,
information out there, right? Because she is the one missing.
Exactly.
She's the one that we need to have returned to us, and she's the one that we need to have found.
Her face should have been the one on the front of the newspaper, not mine, with a teeny little picture of Caylee underneath.
Let me think. The first day it was Kaylee's picture, big, yours small. The second day it was mom's. I can't even keep track of it anymore, and this is just Sentinel. I mean, it's all over nationwide at this point, so it's...
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Well, and it has been since Jump Street, but mom's working real hard with the media. Dad is working real hard with a lot of charities and a lot of places that have offered support, that have put up reward money, that have given us office space, bought all of our supplies, supplied volunteers on a massive level, talking hundreds. So that's been great.
Oh, yeah.
And, down from, I can tell you specifically, Fred Robinson has been amazing support for our family.
Yeah.
His wife, Holly, has been tremendous support for us, and all of them, just they reference the Lord a lot, and they want to know that what you know that everything's behind you, and and to utilize that as your crutch and something to lean on right now.
I've been keeping stronger faith than I ever have, especially now.
Because everybody's reaching out to you through prayer vigils. Excuse me, I keep saying the wrong thing. And things like that. So, and those two in particular have really used that as a platform, not only personally but publicly, to voice their support and to reach out to you to give you strength. So I want you to let you know, just from those old friends down to complete strangers to a grandmother of 5 that grabbed me before the reporters grabbed me on the way in. She gave me a huge hug and said, "You don't need me, nobody does, but let your sister know that we love her." And this is down to complete strangers, Kate. So understand, regardless of what you may hear or be told or whatever with some of these people's reactions, the good people out there know, and the good people out there want to do whatever we can, and they've offered up their unconditional support and resources. And we're of course, just like you are, we're being pulled in a million directions. But if you think of any resources or things that we could maybe utilize that we may not think of, let us know.
Oh, most definitely.
I want to give you an opportunity to talk more if you want, but I got tons of stuff that I could always talk to you about. So.
Hey, honestly, it's kind of better to hear about things that are going on, outside of this, because I don't really have too much to talk about. So, outside of telling Mom and Dad about the food a little bit, and again, sleeping, reading books.
Right.
That's kind of been my life. So,
do you want me to tell you a little bit about what we're doing out here?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, aside from the Caylee's Missing MySpace page, which I've taken control over now myself, I haven't updated it, but I've taken control over that. Immediately that evening, on the 16th, I had changed mine, yours, and Mom's profiles to mirror the other profile, and to utilize that as ways for people to understand how they can volunteer, get flyers, donate.
It's perfect.
Do whatever. I've got, through connections that Josh Duckett has given us, there's been a help find at Caylee.com website up for the better part of a week and a half.
Yeah. That
we are now using as our primary resource to get that word out there. Mm-hmm. Taking tips through there. We're taking volunteer information. All of our contact information's on there. We're trying to use that as the hub of our way to communicate to everybody.
Yeah.
So, that's something that we try to get out there in every broadcast and every print and everything.
Yeah.
We've had some charities that have offered their support in the form of flyers, posters, billboards. We've got billboards across the state of Florida right now. We have some mobile billboards that can be pulled behind if you have a ball hitch on your vehicle. Pulling T-shirts.
Yeah, I saw the
We're
T-shirts. Dad was wearing one last time.
Yeah,
I think
we're
you were
working
wearing
on-
one last time. What's the
Yeah.
bracelet that you have?
It's actually
I know Mom has a blue one.
the bracelet is actually Trenton Duckett is missing bracelet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got that the first night that we met Josh and his family. So so we've been wearing that ever since. We're working on ones for Caylee
For
too,
Caylee.
but this helps keep in perspective not only for Caylee but for everybody.
But for him, yeah.
So,
That's actually what I thought it was. So
yeah, that's what it is. We have a huge fundraiser up in Daytona at the International Speedway on Friday for Caylee. And
great.
that stuff has been donated by numerous companies, including Coca-Cola. All these proceeds from food, from raffles, from auctions, they're all going to go towards these charities that have been helping fund getting the word out there. So Mom and Dad are working hand in hand with them to set all that stuff up. So
That's great.
right now, the people that have already RSVP'd just locally here and stuff, we're not talking media, and it's thousands. We're in the thousands.
That's great.
The support is
It's huge. That's
huge.
exactly what I wanted.
So that's what we all want, because we know that's
Yeah.
how we can effectively get the word out about Caylee, by
Exactly.
utilizing those numbers and those resources of those numbers. So
Yeah.
if there's anything specific you want me, specific or general, that you want me to relay to all of them, I know they would love to hear something from you if
Oh,
you think of anything at any point. So
I definitely, if you could write this down. 5 minutes. I know. Okay.
all right,
So
ready to
5
write it
minutes.
down. Ready to write it down.
I want to openly thank not only our family, but our friends and the community
Okay.
for, their unconditional love and support.
Okay.
I want to thank, obviously, all of the charities that are donating their time and their efforts and their resources to help us. I want everyone to keep Caylee and our family in their prayers. And if there's anyone that has any information, please to come forward without haste.
Okay. Anything specifically you would want to have? If you could speak to the person or the persons that have Caylee, is there anything specific that we could get to them, whether it's publicly or on another level?
As far as publicly is concerned, we miss her. We love her. I miss her. I love her dearly. And I want nothing more than for her to come home and to be safe and to be where she belongs with her family. It's obvious that we'll stop at nothing to get her back. Because I know in my heart, I know in my gut, I know with every ounce of my being that we will be with her again. I thought about this after Jose left, and I actually came and laid back down the other night. I didn't get to thank you for all of your help and for everything that you've been doing. I know you know how I feel. But it's not something that I want to go without saying. You know how much I love you and how much I appreciate this more and more every day. You know, not only to you, but to Mom, to Dad. I know that it's a heavy burden, and I wish that I could be there with you every minute of every day. I will be soon. I know that. I trust that. I can feel it. It's coming. It's getting closer. So we'll have our family back. Dad's, I don't know if he told you the little analogy he gave me the other day, but we're like a hand. Dad's the thumb. Mom's the index finger. You're the middle finger, which was funny because you are the big guy. I'm the ring finger and Caylee's the pinky finger. And, you know, there's 2 fingers that are missing right now. But our hand will be complete, just as our family will be. And Mom said that we're stronger than we ever have been. Finish that.
There's a gate on that side gate that says that it's unlocked while unoccupied. Okay. Never mind.
Mom said that we're stronger than we ever have been, and I truly believe that.
Okay.
And I know that we'll all make it through this and we'll be okay. I love you guys so much and miss you. Oh, God.
We love you too. I love you too. And we're gonna find Caylee, and that's it.
That is the end of, I believe it's 70 in essence.
You understand that tape?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the time is now 5:21. We're going to recess for the evening. Please remember all of my previous admonitions, and we will see you in the morning. Have a good evening. You may be seated. Mr. Mason, did y'all serve this motion on the state of Florida that y'all want to have heard tomorrow morning at 8:30? Well, it came from your office.
Wow. I've got an alibi. I've been right here. You know.
Well, want to take a look at it? All my judicial assistant said she had this motion from your office and y'all wanted to hear it at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Haven't we heard one of these before? And what's different about this one as opposed to the one that we've heard before? And I'm just sort of curious because they do have a Brady versus Maryland
I think I know who the instigator is.
Oh, pass it on off.
We have one that,
You probably need to go to the podium.
Like, we can't hear you, Mr. Mason.
Go to the podium so we'll,
you and I talked about one that we filed, and she was making inquiry about. And I don't know what's new or different about one that's now signed by Ms. Fennell.
well, look over it and then you can decide you can hear at 8:30 on Saturday morning since no one seems to know why you want it to be here tomorrow at 8:30.
We'll talk about
My
it.
understanding, Judge, excuse me, and I apologize for not jumping in here. My understanding is that we've already spoken to Ms. Drainburdick about what might be outstanding, if anything at all, and she has promised to inquire and get back to us shortly.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't think we need to have a hearing.
All right, that's all I
until
need
at
to
least hear
know.
back from- Yes.
We do have one thing that we may want to address.
What's that?
We just received a new witness, an expert witness from the defense. We will need, I assume, to have a good cause hearing at the court's convenience. She is listed as an expert. We've been given a one-page, looks like a download from the internet with a brief description of this individual. So we'll need to have we also have received some other new discovery, which is a CD containing, says CD of George Anthony's hospital records. So we'll need to have a good cause hearing on that as well at the court's convenience, because I don't believe those records have ever been provided to us previously, and I'm certain that the witness has not. So, and if the court would like to hear that. The only good cause, just so the court knows,
Who is this new expert?
her name is, sorry. Glasses?
Got mine.
You're too young. It says Dr. Sally, I'll spell the name, Karioth, PhD-RN, expert in parentheses.
Expert in what?
Well, this says that she teach courses in individual death and the family, the holistic approach to health, professional nursing leadership, and values, roles, and issues in nursing. I can but assume that her expertise must be in the first category. But again, I believe it has something to do with that. I believe that Mr. Baez has indicated to Ms. Drainburdick that this is an expert who has not interviewed the defendant and may give some sort of opinion on something. So I'll defer to the defense whenever you want to have that hearing.
Right now, I can tell you the extent and what it is. It shouldn't take long at all.
Okay.
In light of all of the evidence that was introduced, which we had, objected to as to Miss Anthony's behavior subsequent to the death of Caylee Marie Anthony, I think it would be incumbent upon us to present some type of evidence of the different types of reactions that people have in the grieving process, and how it's not uncommon at all for people to react differently to death and dying of a loved one. Much of the evidence that was admitted as it pertains to this type of evidence, we strongly felt would be inadmissible. And of course, over rigorous objections, it was admitted. And I know the court has its basis for that, and that's already been heard. As far as what this witness will be speaking of, will be in the general nature of that. It will not pertain to something that relates to that would require a examination of Miss Anthony, so we can avoid all of those issues. The state of Florida has also listed new witnesses, over the last couple of days. I think yesterday I was advised that we had a new witness, and I get discovery all the time. As to the discovery that we gave to the state today, it's something in our possession. I don't necessarily think, or it might come into issues for impeachment purposes, but it's certainly just some type of, it's just something we're disclosing. It's not something that we have any intent of pursuing at this time. However, I think it would be malpractice on my part to let something stand in the way of not attempting to explain the different reactions to death and dying and bereavement that the state has presented. Again, we relied on Randolph v. State, and I had no knowledge or anticipation that this would become an issue. The second it became an issue, I sought out someone who I thought might be able to assist us in Miss Anthony's defense, and I've immediately disclosed it to the state. She is available for deposition, just as certain state experts, for example, we're taking Dr. Voss's deposition on Friday, and that's really the bulk of my position on that, Judge.
Your Honor, the court heard and denied motions by the defense attempting to exclude the evidence that Mr. Baez has just said to you he was surprised that you allowed in. I believe that the claim that he was surprised is disingenuous. I would point out to the court that in the defense's pleading filed on April the 12th of 2011, titled Defendant's Response to Motion for Examination by Mental Health Expert, at paragraph 2, they in fact suggest that they may want, in the alternative, to call an expert who has not examined the defendant, precisely what they're saying they just thought of. And if the court needs to look at it, I've got a copy right here. Judge, I believe that the court's order required both sides to fully prepare their case, to anticipate issues, to claim that I just thought of this and therefore we should be exempted from the rules is not good cause based on the court's order. So the defense has, I believe, not shown good cause. We are, apparently this witness has not yet prepared a report, though the court had ordered reports of all experts. Obviously, we don't know exactly when Mr. Baez first found this lady. When we got her name, it took about 2 minutes to find her on the internet. So I guess what I would request is the court is considering good cause, that it requires some more thorough explanation by counsel of exactly when he first pursued a witness in this area, because it appears from the pleadings that it was contemplated by the defense as of at least April 12th. So I do not believe at this point that the defense has shown good cause, but if the court wants us to attempt to depose the woman, obviously deposing a witness who hasn't actually interviewed anybody and has no information, is going to be asked hypotheticals, would be rather pointless, since we don't know what the hypotheticals are going to be. But at any rate, that's where we are. As to Mr. Anthony's medical records,
let's finish with that one.
Sure. That's all I would have.
My suggestion is to go ahead and take the deposition of this witness, but I will call your attention to the following case. Angrand, Angrand versus Key, which is found at 657 7th 2nd, 1146. That deals with expert testimony on grief and bereavement. Is not automatically admissible. So let's take the deposition. Let's find out what this person is saying. Because as you know, under a 702.2 examination, expert testimony must be able to aid jurors to understand things that they cannot understand. And then I don't know what time period she's talking about because bereavement generally takes place after a body is found and someone recognized the fact that someone is in fact dead. So for me to rule on this at this time without a deposition being taken or reports being given, because if that person is permitted to testify, that person has to do everything that every other expert has been required to do. One, produce a report. Two, outline the things that this court has ordered before as to they are to state all the opinions that they are going to give. So let's do that, and then the court will see whether or not. But y'all need to read that case, folks.
And when might when might we be receiving this report?
I will speak with her this evening, and I can answer that question tomorrow.
Well,
now, I would like to address something.
yes, sir.
I've stated to this court that this is something we just thought of, and this is something that we just pursued, and that is the absolute truth. And aside from the insults thrown by counsel here, I just want to make sure that it is clear that if I've represented something, this court can take it as fact, despite the disparaging remarks made by co-counsel, which I think are completely unnecessary.
Well, folks, it's been a long day. I don't need to hear any more of that. I don't think the comments, Mr. Baez, were disparaging. I can understand how you could take it as such, but let's take it through the steps. There's no need of getting emotional. We will see what the witness has to testify to, and then I will rule. But it's kind of hard for me to ascertain what someone is going to testify to when we don't have any reports. We don't have a deposition of a witness. We don't know what the witness's background, whether or not the witness is qualified to opine. And then after we get all this, we then need to determine whether or not that particular evidence, and all I did was give y'all a point of reference to start your research, because even if it is, and you can jump through all the hurdles, there's a case out there that says it may not be admissible. So those, and I just didn't want anybody to get caught scratching their heads when I brought that case up.
So it's nice to have a leg up. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
As far as the medical records issue, again,
Okay, move on with that.
Sure. I assume that this is being provided because, pursuant to the rule, the defense intends to use this at trial. Again, I'm not sure what the reason for the late disclosure of this material is. I know that in the past we've had this issue, and Mr. Baez has provided things to us as a courtesy, but I think we do need to know if this is actually going to be intended to use at trial, and if so, what portions, and of course the good cause as to why this is provided to us in the middle of trial.
Well, as I told Mr. Baez, I tell you the same thing. If they provide you an entire record, then you assume that they're going to try to get the whole record in.
Oh, that's fine, Judge. I was more going to the good cause issue rather than the that portion.
I do not know what the medical records concern. I have not reviewed those, so I don't know what issue it covers.
Well, no, I was more going to the good cause for late disclosure, because the court's deadline for disclosure of this type of
Well-
material was many months ago. And
Well-
I hadn't heard anything from counsel about why this was disclosed so late.
We will find that out. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
From the defense.
Is the court going to hold a good cause hearing on the medical records? You said you were going to find out. I didn't know if you meant now or some later hearing.
If y'all want to hear it, we can do it Saturday morning at 8:30.
That'll be fine.
Since you're going to be here anyway, you can do it at 8:30 or you can do it at 1 o'clock. Makes me never mind.
I just didn't do it at the end, but it's up to you.
That's fine. I don't.
Sure. All right. We'll be back.
I'm going to be here, so we'll do the good cause hearing at
So will we?
1 p.m. on Saturday on the medical records, and we will discuss the issue. Well, we can't resolve the issue of the other expert until you take the deposition, but put it this way. That deposition needs to be taken one day early next week, and things from time to time will crop up that neither side anticipated. But there is what I would call a good faith obligation on the party who may be doing the late disclosure to provide that particular witness for depots so we can see what this witness is going to testify to, because I cannot rule in a vacuum.
As soon as we get the report, we'll set a deposition very, very quickly. Thank you, sir.
Anything else, folks? Okay, this court will be in recess to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.